Elevate yourself. Empower others. Welcome to Coach Approach Podcast. Mark, welcome to Coach Approach.
Thank you, sir. Great to see you.
Most people do personal development for years and stay stuck in the same patterns. They just get better at explaining them.
Yeah.
Why, why do you believe most personal growth takes too long, even when people are genuinely trying?
Yep. So, because there's four things that hold a pattern into place, and those things are shame, blame, guilt, and hate. So those four emotional states is holding it into place, and also most people are also working on letting go of something, releasing it, trying to get rid of it. And what we do here is we have a transformational approach where we actually turn it into something. In other words, what does if somebody has fear about growing, what's the what's the opposite of fear? What is so fear would turn into faith, courageousness, and bravery. So we have them have that we transform their fear into it. When people try to get away from fear, they're missing where they can find their courage. So
Mm.
so in all those patterns that most people are trying to get rid of, we find there's a gold nugget in them. And once our clients begin to see that, there is this easy. It's a very easy transformational approach.
Can you tell me what the people are doing that feels productive but keeps them looping again?
Um, okay. One of the other things I've noticed with most coaching modalities, they say you got to get out of your comfort zone, right? Which I'm sure you've heard that. What
Yeah.
I've found is most people are, when they're stuck, they're in a state of misery. They're beating themselves up. It's a lot of self beat up and stuff. And so, on some level, the subconscious goes, if I got to get out of my comfort zone, they're calling where I am my comfort zone. I'm actually miserable. They that's a lie. They're actually in a familiar zone. So you got to really be truthful about where somebody is, so they can find out what's going on with themselves to actually shift. If you're saying where they are is comfortable and they're miserable, there's does not compute. So we find the truth of the situation, bring that to them, and they go, you know what? Wow, no one's told me that I've been actually in misery here.
Mhm.
And once they come to that awareness, they're like, "Get me the heck! Okay, what can we do here?" My camera is doing some weird stuff here. Uh, So let's see if
Uh,
this is better.
yeah,
There we
yeah,
go.
yeah. Uh, Most systems try to change thoughts to change feelings, but you reverse it. You
We do it
change,
different.
yeah, you change feelings, body chemistry to change thoughts.
Yep.
Can you
Yes.
can you can you explain your core mechanism in plain language? Why do you work on feelings first instead of thoughts?
Because thoughts is like trying to herd cats. It takes a lot of mental computation to do that. Most of our manifestation is actually feelings anyway. Feelings account for 80% of the manifestation. So if you're trying to change the thoughts, which are like herding cats, I mean, it's it's tough to do that. And most people also they talk about you got to think positive and don't think negative. We other than do that either. When people are in the positive negative trying to do that, they're also that's where all the shame, blame, guilt and comes in because of people who are trying to do it right, don't want to do it wrong, and they're living in that shame piece, self beat up. So what we do here is pretend just I think I worked with you on the when we did a pre-call to this. You can just say, "Oh wow," and your feelings change that quick. I go, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm so just hang on a second. Pardon me. Got an animal coming up here and trying to get into my screen. Pardon me." Um, so, yeah, what we're doing here is we're changing feelings to change thought. Just like if I was to give you a shot of tequila right now, your thoughts would change very, very quickly. Yes. Two shots of tequila, even more thought change, right? Three shots of tequila, maybe you're invisible, right? Or invincible and invisible. So the deal of changing feelings, you can change them in an instant once you understand how it works, and then there's an automatic new set of thinking comes in. Even like when we were talking, most people they get stuck in the how. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to grow? All that. People can spend decades in how. One of our core classes we do in person is a class called From How to Wow. From how question mark to wow exclamation point. And once people begin to understand this system and the quantum leap effect we do here, it's very easily to produce a breakthrough result in a matter of seconds. No matter if it's with money, your your family, your company, your leadership abilities, all those things go very quickly. And instead of figuring them out, which is most way most people do, like what am I going to do? This is a way where there's an instantaneous remembering of your new state. And I mean, it happens in seconds, guy. It's really, really wild.
Mm. So everything is about shifting the state. And when someone shifts state, what becomes possible that wasn't possible before?
Yep. Yep. So state, or another way of saying it is frequency. So when somebody's sad, they're in a particular, state or frequency, right? And most people try to shift the conversations in the mind. One of my mentors I worked with decades ago, he said there's no such thing as a mind. Because you have a brain and you have a body, but the mind is a made up concept for people who have thoughts in their head. But the thoughts are really just a frequency you're tuning into. So sad, no matter if you where you live, the conversations that people have when they're sad are the same conversations. When you have anger, there's a whatever frequency that is, there's a whole series of conversations that are available in anger, and it's just broadcasted. And that it's like listening to a radio, rap, country and western, rock and roll, and you just change the frequency and hear new music or new thoughts. So our thoughts aren't even ours; they're just available in this frequency in wherever we're at an energy based world. And so we're showing people how to do this. And it's fascinating, fast. We have papers being written up who were written up in the European Scientific Journal about what we're doing. Um, we're having neurologists study what we're doing, and the person who we had them doing brain scans before and after our classes. We took them to one of the foremost readers of this data, and he said, "Whatever you guys are doing," and he didn't know what we were doing. He goes, "Whatever you guys are doing, it's activating all areas of the brain simultaneously." He goes, "This is amazing." So we're getting some more notoriety with this as well. And he goes, and the neurologist that was doing the testing and was also in the class, he says, you're rewiring the brain in a matter of seconds. And in most modalities, and what we're, they have systems to rewire the brain as well. She goes, it takes us months to do what you're doing in seconds. She goes, this is really different. So we have a lot of doctors who are coming behind what we're doing as well. Neurologists, naturopaths, Western medicine doctors, and it all accelerates healing, which is really cool. But it also accelerates money, happiness, joy. What's happened? Those which somebody people would call positive emotions, but we just call them like those particular feelings are a lift. Some feelings are a lift, and some feelings are moving people down. Some people, like if you do cocaine, it produces it's a toxin to your system, right? And people can kill themselves on an overdose of cocaine or fentanyl or whatever. So you can kill yourself on an overdose of anger. If you stay anger for a few years, it's going to eventually destroy your liver, even if you don't drink. All those things. Pancreas, if you stay bitter, it's going to destroy your pancreas. And so you're going to slowly kill yourself. So all those chemicals are toxic to your system. Which chemicals are toxic? Which chemicals are life-giving? If the chemicals your body produces in a state of toxicity also damage the neurons in the brain, the The chemicals produced in your body in a state of love, gratitude, and appreciation activate neurons in the brain. So one will dumb you down, another will make you stupid, and another one will build connectivity and genius and keep going up. And to keep the
Hmm.
person keeps going up. Wit, problem solving, solution solving, and all that. And it gets to where the subconscious is providing all that information for you that we can. There's a way for us to program people's subconscious where instead of finding things to bitch, moan, and complain about, pardon in advance, the subconscious will automatically provide solutions for them. So their realm of effective responses grows. Some people get triggered, they shut down. Some people get triggered and they lash out. If instead of doing that reactive pattern, that you could have an effective moment right there, what would happen with your company? What would happen with your income? What happens with your love and trust with your wife? All those things go up. So it's different. It's really, really different.
You said most people believe it takes like 400 to 600 repetitions to change a pattern. You
So,
said your work can do it in 3 to 5 repetitions.
yes,
Uh,
sir.
how can that be true? And what is
Okay.
happening in the subconscious that makes change happen in 3 to 5 reps?
Yep. Thank you. Um, yes, there's studies that said it takes 400 to 600 repetitions to create a pattern shift. They said if you, and this is a study, it said if you use humor, it only takes 10 to 20. So there's already studies that are getting it down to 10 to 20. And what I'm saying is a way that we use feelings and the playfulness and the feelings and the language piece all bundled together, we're doing it in 3 to 5. Sometimes I can have, as weird as it may sound, sometimes I'll have people sing their new upgrades and it goes in a song. They've also proved that doing singing things into place has a pattern shift even faster. So we're using all these tools: humor, feelings, singing. I mean, not, that's like, playful, not like, getting up and, but just anything to take the shame off that individual. When you get up and sing in front of a group and sing, I really began to love my life, that
Mm.
person has to go through, oh shit, am I going to do it right? Oh my God, what are people going to think of me? I mean, all that stuff. And they'll get up there sometimes and cry. I've even had people to get through that shame locker, that lock on shame. I said, just growl. They go,
Mm.
"Urgh." I go, no, growl. "Urgh." Like they're trying to do growling right, and they're going to screw up every time. As soon as they go through it, I mean, they'll be sweating and stuff to go through that embarrassment and shame. And as soon as they do it, now all of a sudden there's a new world available for them instantaneously. It's really fast, Marco.
Uh, why do some people shift without even realizing they shifted?
Because they're still unconscious. This is going so fast, and we're shifting the unconscious instead of them having to consciously do the same repetition again and again and again and again, and practice doing a new behavior or any of that
Mhm.
stuff. They just say it and it starts to happen. The tone of voice will shift, the way they speak, the words they use will shift. We just did a class this weekend in Ocala where I live, and that was on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. People are already expressing their business income is going up. They all of a sudden they're getting calls. All of a sudden their business is beginning to, instead of doing whatever X amount of dollars a day, they're now doing X plus another 20-25% at just after coming out of it from the weekend, which is whatever 3 days ago.
Mhm.
And they said this is really different. Even one lady, uh, she hadn't spoken with her dad in 30 years. And on the first day of class, she goes, calls her dad, and she's going to go see him in June. And she was like, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing my dad. And, her carrying around that weight of, she hating her dad and all that. I mean, it's affecting her health. It's affecting her business because she's walking around bitter and carrying all that stuff on inside of her consciousness. So her business is going to go up. We've had a lady come in on not a walker, but a real heavy duty cane, and basically walked out skipping. I mean, like wild.
Hmm. And what determines whether it sticks with the person?
Yep, great question. So um, sometimes people will go back and do an old behavior, and if they do the old behavior, they'll go back to also beat up, self
Hmm.
beat up. So what has a pattern go back is if they do something they're ashamed of and hang on to shame. That's what locks the pattern back in. And it's real easy to shift it. Would you like to know how to shift shame? Can we use F words on your show?
Yes, yes, of
All
course.
right. Yes, sir, Marco. That's great. So just say big, say big,
Big,
fucking,
big, big
fuck,
fucking.
oops. Say oops.
Oops.
See? You can't even say it without laughing, right? I feel
Yeah, yeah.
what feel would have in your body instead of, oh my God, what I did, that's just so stupid. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm right back to the same place I started from. I just spent all that money on the class and now it doesn't even work. No, you big fucking oops, back in the game, back in the game, back in the game. It's it doesn't mean some of these patterns don't show up. It's how quickly can you shift them instead of them
Mm,
taking you out for a week. You know, if somebody expects that they're never going to feel fear again, that's that's an unrealistic expectation. What we're doing is we're giving the person the confidence and the clarity to be and the know and the experience. That, oh, in my fear, I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna find my next. I find my next level of courage in my fear. So so when they begin to understand the system, it's self-replicating, self-advancing, and people start to share with their friends because their friends go, "What is up with you? You used to be pissed about this, this, and this, and I haven't heard you say one word about how crappy your dad was or how crappy your employee is or whatever. Like all that stuff's gone. Yeah, it was very very different. One weekend can do all that. Yeah, and with our classes, there's 30 people in a room, so everyone has a personal experience. And in our classes, everyone gets personal coaching, and with the classes included in the pricing.
okay. Uh, you frame language as a hidden operating system, and you think complaining to cognitive decline and nervous system activation. Uh, can you tell us what is the language of separation and
Yep.
how does it actually trap people biologically and psychologically?
Thank you, sir. You took notes from our call.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Yep. So there's um there's a language of separation, and what I mean by that is that somebody believes that they're separate from God, or in other words, separate from life.
Hmm.
As everything we base here is based in quantum physics, also spirituality, and spirituality, and even in the biblical terms, there's it's, God is in scriptures. God is love, life, truth, and light. So those words are interchangeable with God. A lot of people have a lot of dogma around the word God, so we interchange those four words. So you some people when I lead a class sometimes I'll ask people, have you ever been somewhere where life isn't? And you wouldn't believe how long they will ponder that question. I mean, literally, if this is a conversation I had with somebody, they said, well, I've been into the desert. Let me think, was there any life around me? I go, are you alive? They go, yeah. I said, let me think about the desert thing. And they'll keep thinking. I said, were you alive in the desert? Yeah. I mean, I did that with a person. It probably took them 10 minutes ago. Oh, yeah, if I'm alive, then like, but that's how disconnected that person is from truth.
Mm.
And it's when all these limiting belief patterns come into place. Every limiting belief pattern is a lie,
Hmm.
and every limiting belief pattern was conceived created with the word not. In other words, some type of experience came up that the person made wrong, and they said, life's not fair. I can't do anything right. I don't know what to do. And they made a statement that was a not statement. And once they do that, they begin to see life separate, to see
Hmm.
themselves separate from life. And they keep and that limiting belief pattern is continuously fed into existence with the word not. And the limiting belief pattern is always lying. It can't handle one moment of truth. So if somebody has a pattern that's been going on for a long time and they think they're working on it, most likely the pattern they're working on isn't the pattern that they really have. They're working on a lie. So once they can find the truth, the pattern is going to shift very, very quickly. I worked with a guy who had been going to a therapist for 20 years to get over his fear of abandonment. I said, well, this system will get you through it in about 20 minutes. And I said, what's your fear? What's your real? I said, if that's you've been working on that fear for 20 years, that's not your real fear. I said, what is your real fear? He goes, I don't know. I said, look, dude, just say I choose to know, because every word we say gives us access. If you say I don't know, you won't know. You say I choose to know, you can know, right? Pretty simple. Henry Ford said, if you say you can't or you say you can, you're right. So I said, just say I choose to know. He was pissed. I choose to know. Like the real fuck you with it. And finally, he said, I choose to know as a fact. And as soon as he said it as a fact, I said, now what's your fear? He goes, love. As soon as he said love, everybody in the room starts crying. He starts crying. And he immediately went through that. And this guy had been homeless for years, man, like 8 years. Next thing you know, he's an author writing a book about his experience, gets himself a house. He's changed his whole life once he realized that his real fear was love.
Hmm.
And what we say here is, if you've been in a pattern, stuck in a pattern for a number of years, rather than trying to get away from it, get rid of it and all that stuff, get a PhD in it. Find out everything you can about it. Once you do that, the pattern can't touch you again, or if it does, it's just gonna touch you for a matter of seconds, and you'll recognize it and be able to shift yourself very quickly. So the PhD thing is really important to study and know. You know, even in you ever read Art of War, the book The Art of War?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
it says know your like you got to know your enemy, right? Like really
Yeah,
understand your enemy,
first.
right? So same thing. If fear is your enemy, know your enemy. Find out all you can about it. Don't try to get rid of it and push it away, because it'll come back to nail you again. So really study it. Understand what it is. Understand what your behaviors are. Understand what is costing you. Understand what your payoff is for having it in your life. And once the person begins to see all that, it becomes easy to shift it. But if you don't educate yourself and you're just doing it because fear is wrong and courageousness is right, good luck with that. You're gonna be doing
Mm.
that shit for a long time.
What does language of separation do to nervous system state, and why do you call it a virus?
Yep. So when somebody's in the language of separation, there's a direct relationship between the word not and anxiety. So for those people who have anxiety on the call on your show, I guarantee you're speaking 40 to 60% or greater knots. The greater the amount of knots a person speaks, the higher the level of anxiety. And it keeps the person in a state of fight or flight and a reptilian brain system. Even if you're like building some really cool stuff, well, I mean, ants, look at what ants build. You think they have higher consciousness?
Mm.
They build bridges, they build all kinds of things. They work together as a team. They do all kinds of things. And they're still doing it basically from a place of fight or flight and survival. Like, how can I survive? So the higher consciousness, when you move to a language of unity, you're able to, um, like, what do I really choose here? Not what I'm doing in order to survive. And some
Hmm.
people, and they may have issues with money growing up, And as an adult, they may make a lot of money, but they're still in surviving with money. I'm sure you've
Mhm.
seen that. Like no matter what they have is not enough, and their nervous system's still wrapped up. So they may have a great bank account, but that heightened nervous system, fight or flight, now they have all kind of health issues. So
Mhm.
it's going to show up one way or the other. They may alleviate one thing, but it's going to show up elsewhere in their life, or maybe they're crappy with relationships. But we do. Our system works on everything at the same time. Your relationship's going to improve, health's going to improve, money's going to improve, everything improves.
You
Am
give
I
us,
answering your questions? I hope.
yeah, definitely. And I can you gave us some examples, but can you give some other example of separation language versus unity language in daily
Yeah, yeah,
life?
yeah. So separation of language is all lies. So I hate, I I am mad. That's language of separation. You're not an I am mad. You're not an I am not. We're an I am that I am. So
Hmm.
anytime we're speaking in, or someone will say, "I'm really beginning to love me. I'm." That's how they say it. I'm choosing it. I speak this other way, so different. Um, oh, people will say, I feel that people don't like me. And they'll put a that in. Anytime they put a that in between, any time after feelings, that's the language of separation. So people will say,
Hmm.
I feel like, instead of I feel sad, I feel happy. I feel that life's not fair. Like say they'll put, you can tell it creates a separation in it. Um, when you say I feel sad, the person will actually feel it. You say I feel that I'm sad, it's a way to just to separate. Also, if somebody is referring to themselves, and a lot of people do this, if they're referring to themselves as a you, when you do this instead of whenever I do this, um, whenever we do this, that's another way of doing that.
Hmm.
So whenever I do this, whenever I get upset, whenever
Hmm.
you get upset, I mean, so they're out of body the whole time. When we work with people on an emotional state, we have a way to bring them back into their body first before working with them emotionally. Most people work with somebody emotionally to try to get them back into their body. We do it the opposite. It's way faster that way. Why work with somebody emotionally when they've been out of their body for 30 years? When we can get them back in 2 or 3, 4, 5 minutes, then work with their emotional state.
Yeah, makes sense totally.
Cool.
If if someone is listening and realizes they complain a lot, what's the first step to interrupt that pattern?
Uh, do something stupid.
Hmm.
I mean, like for real. Like sometimes people will be in a really silly fault, really silly complaint. I've had clients call me and go, and they'll be just bitching. I go, you'd like to break this pattern real quick? Stand on one foot, hop around in a circle from counterclockwise and sing jingle bells.
It's so easy.
Yeah, anything to disrupt the pattern, anything. And all of a sudden, once they're separate from the pattern, then their brain function comes back online.
Hmm.
So that's a way to start to separate it, and then if you could write down your complaints, say, I don't like this, I don't like not having enough money, I don't like my wife, I don't like the way my kids are. Write all those things down in one column, and on the column opposite, across from it, take all those not statements and turning into I love statements.
Hmm.
And when you do that, you're going to you'll take the charge off of it. And notice the feelings. Notice the feelings when you're speaking. I don't like, I'm not. And notice the feeling when you're speaking love, or even more better as we do from Texas, even more better as we do from Texas. I really, really love. So you can feel the feeling of love, and then it reverses all those complaints very quickly. If you can just do that exercise, your life's going to change dramatically within 30 days.
A lot of people hear rapid transformation and immediately ask, how do you measure it? You mentioned papers, published brain mapping, and written medical testimonials. So, what types of evidence do you currently have behind the work, and what are you building next in terms of measurement?
Yeah, so we have testimonies from people have come in with different types of, like, somebody came in with gallbladder, going to have to have their gallbladder taken out, they're going to go to the doctor before they came to class. They go, hey, I'm going to take my gallbladder out, go with them, take them. They do the class, they go back to the doctor, and their gallbladder is perfectly healthy. So we have all those report evidence, doctors and the patients. We have doctors who are sending us their patients so they can share with us what, what results working with us is producing with that person's healing. And then we have, excuse me, we have neurologists doing brain mapping, and we have those tests available as well. And then, of course, we have the monetary issues as well. When somebody has, I've been stuck at this money for how many years, and I come take from how to wow, and my income just tripled in 90 days. We have those testimonies and signed off things as well. So we're going to the brain mapping we did. We had where we were doing the brain mapping before and after a class.
Mhm,
The next one we're doing, they're going to be brain mapping them as they go through the transformation. So
mhm.
they're going to be having the sensors on them while they're in class, and be able to. We get people in the hot seat and work with them for 15, 20 minutes, and so they're going to be able to see what change is occurring over that smaller amount of time. Oh, one more thing. We've also done live blood cell analysis before and
Oh,
after. Before and after, we had somebody read the live blood cell analysis and took the bloods to them. I said, "What do you think about this person? Oh man, this person's got all kind of issues. They got their health. They're gonna be susceptible to disease. They got really watch this, really watch this. Take them to give another blood sample. It's the same person. We don't tell them. What is this person? Oh, this person's doing great. Excellent health, excellent blood, no clumping. Like, wow, this person's really doing well. It's the same person. We took the samples 20 minutes apart.
I mean, you're growing fast. I mean, huge demand is there.
Mm-hmm.
You have a great product.
Yep.
You have a great solutions. So you grown to seven figures through word of mouth and kept
Keep
growing.
growing. Yep. Keep it
Yeah, yeah,
growing.
yeah.
Yep.
Uh, Now you're going global, launching Spanish and training 30 coaches.
Yep.
How are you thinking about scaling transformation without turning it into rah-rah stage work?
Well, we will do some of the. I do have classes designed. We can take them up to. We'll probably first take it up to 100 people, and then we'll go to 300 people. But it'll be more of an introductory type of a class. And when we do that, we're also going to have a lot of staff in the room to where we can do breakout seminars, so people still get the one-on-one attention. For us to put 10,000 people in a room like Tony Robbins or some of the bigger guys, maybe, but that if doing that, we're going to lose that one-on-one experience. So I'm about making sure our clients get the greatest value they can for what we're doing here, and that takes one-on-one experiential work for them to be able to do this. I figure we take care of our clients, our business, the greater success of our clients, the greater success of our company, as we put our attention on our clients.
Yeah. Why small groups
Because
instead of mass recorded content, for example?
if you would come to one of our classes, you'd understand. But some of these patterns are you can listen to something and hear it over and over again. Maybe
Mhm.
some people can pick it up, what's going on with it, but the majority of people doesn't work that way. They're they have these patterns that have been entrenched not only in them but also in their lineage, and they're so entrenched they don't even know they're in it. So we have a way of shocking the person's system to be able to get them out of it. And
I
in a
mean,
class, in a class, we do that. I mean, I play a lot of different roles to have it occur. Tough coach, whatever.
Yeah, for every change, for initiation of every change, there needs to be some kind of shock.
Yep, yep.
Uh,
And different, and one lady that's in class this weekend, and it was maybe I think we had 27 in the class, small, small class, and she had, gosh, she was pissed. I mean, just you could see it on her face and her tone of voice. There's, they had had bankruptcy, she had a lot of sexual assault, all kinds of things. Hated, a lot of issues with men, of course, with the sexual assault. And so instead of like, butting heads with her, I walked across the room, sat down in front of her, sat on the floor, crossed my legs, and just looked at her in her eyes and go, let's just get it all out. So how are you going to do that in a room with 10,000 people and find, be able to find exactly what that person's needs to have it shift, to go in there with guns hot, firing with her when she has all that anger, resentment. I just, it didn't work, man. So I just sat down in front of her and I didn't give her anything to push against. The coaching was just basically sitting there looking at her eyes. And all of a sudden she just, oh my gosh, what have I been doing all my life? I mean, like who am I now? And she wrote the most beautiful testimonial on Facebook. And I mean, over a weekend, and it's still sticking. And not only is it sticking, it's continuously going up. That's the beauty about what we do. It's a continual upswing rather than, I got out of here and it's a static experience and it's starting to wane. Ours keeps going up, and we designed it that way.
can you can you explain your model? How do people train replacements and move up?
All right. So to work with us as a facilitator, we have a minimum year and a half program that they take classes in. After they take the classes, then there's an apprenticeship model where they start coming to classes. They start to assist in the class. They're getting additional coaching. And they're still paying for all this stuff to play at this level, or some level of it. Once
Mhm,
they get to a certain level, they trade service for for knowledge, for class experience. So
mhm,
we use a traditional apprenticeship model. um, Once they get to a certain level of apprenticeship, then they apprentice behind with a coach who's leading one of the introductory classes. They apprentice with that coach, and they become the second in the room with that coach in an online class. Once they get adept at doing that, they move up to the leadership in that, and then they apprentice their replacement, and then they
mhm,
move up to the next class and the next class. But it's an apprentice, traditional master apprentice model. And,
mhm,
and some people can do it really quickly, and then some people it takes longer. And the people who take longer, it's they have a level of doubt, or they kind of like, am I really going to do this? This sounds cool. I want to do this, but the want to and let me see if I like it and all that stuff. That doesn't. The person has to be fully committed to be able to play at the level we demand here.
mhm. Yeah, the better question will be what standards do you require before someone leads a class? So that are the
Oh,
standards.
we have a written set of standards, and we also there's also a board
Hmm.
that instead of just me saying yes or no, we have a board that's going to interview. We have three people on it, and we each test them. What do you think? What do you see here? We review their record. We review their recordings at a lesser class. How did they do with that? Are they ready to go up? And there's some very distinct things we can find out through all that. But we're we have a high degree of standards for what we're doing with our coaches. This isn't like I've seen a lot of coaching. I saw some coaching schools where pay $300 over the weekend and you're a coach.
No, that's impossible. And
Yeah,
the,
and
this these schools are everywhere.
yeah, and ours is. Ours is a full-blown school. To get a master's or PhD with us, a master's takes about 2 years to get.
Hmm.
PhD takes about 3 years. So it's a it's a lot of requirements. Um, there's papers to be written, just like getting a master's or PhD anywhere else. You have papers to write. There's also oral dissertations that you give as well in front of a group. We're going to ask questions with you. How well have you embodied the information? It's not just reading something and regurgitating. You have to own it yourself.
For the end, let's make this useful. Someone listening might be stuck in fear, burnout, or constant reaction, for example. So, what's one simple practice, language or state-based, that a person can start today to shift their relationship with life?
So if you're stuck in if you're stuck in fear, so you can once you if you kind of make it okay that you got it going on, at least admit it and say, I've been stuck in fear for all these years. Okay, great. And you can say, I give me permission to live my courageous life. Just something as simple as that. And you find a moment where you have actually maybe expressed courageousness or something, and go, wow, I did that. I'm really proud of myself for that particular moment. So if you can get the shame off yourself, start to find something you're proud about yourself, find something you're grateful about, and give yourself permission to live your courageous life, or give yourself permission to be wealthy. Give yourself permission to really thrive. Most people, like most affirmations, they say, I am wealthy, I am happy, all those things. Sometimes when somebody's in a really thick pattern, those are too big of bites for somebody to take. So back off and go, I give me permission to be happy,
Mhm.
and start working from a smaller up until you can actually feel the change in find something you actually align with your words, with your feelings, and then things start to shift for you. If you're just doing vain repetition, that shit's never going to work.
Mhm. What should they stop saying? Or maybe it can be a trigger. Okay, yeah, that's the trigger. Stop and go in the positive state, and positive saying.
But we drop all the positive and negative off.
Okay.
So that's um, we just look at actions and result. What result are you producing? So what are your actions which led you to this result? And then once people can see that instead of the positive negative stuff, then they can easily alter their actions. So let's do it this way. If somebody's producing a manifestation, I'm sure you've heard the law of attraction. What we do here, we call it the gift of co-creation. And the gift of co-creation is always working. You can't turn it off.
Mhm.
And you don't have to learn how to use it because it's always being used. I mean, you can't like people, I got to learn how to manifest. No, you're always manifesting. You may require to bring a manifestation from an unconscious state to a conscious state. When somebody is producing a manifestation they hate, that means they had hate inside of them when they asked for it. They asked for it from a place of hate. Most people, they ask questions that are really stupid. Example: why am I such a screw up? Why can't I do anything right? Why am I struggling with all this? If you ask those why questions, you're going to get a lot of answers, a lot of thoughts in your noggin of things you hate. So what we do is here, rather than asking those stupid important, they're silly questions. You don't want an answer to those things. Get ask a
Oh.
question like, "What's my life like now that I have 10 times the amount of wealth?"
Mm.
And if instead of going mental and trying to like you're doing, like trying to look up and see, if you can just if you can just kind of sit in a chair and just go, wow. Marco, say wow. Say wow. I'll just say, hey Marco, wow. Lean back in your chair. I kind of lean
Ah,
back. Ah, finally got it.
I got it.
And see, and the body will start to relax. When the body begins to relax, all the thoughts begin to quiet, and then you begin to remember what you did. And you'll start to match your frequency to it. But you got to give it to your body first. Feelings first, body first, then noggin. If you do noggin first, screw up. The noggin operates between 40 bits of information per second up to 2,000 bits of information per second. The subconscious, our feeling world, operates between 20 million up to 400 billion bits of information per second. They're able to process it. That's how, when you're playing soccer, right? You don't consciously do all those movements.
No,
It's
no.
it's automatic. Your subconscious is doing it. You had repetitive until it's muscle memory. It's in your body. You have a feeling for it. And if you hit a ball good, like if you just if you get a good kick, if you got the feeling in you, and you can, if you made a bad kick, you know what you did, and you can adjust. You know. So it's the same thing here. You get it in your body, and your body does it for you. Your subconscious does it for you. If you're trying to
Yeah,
do it mentally, good luck.
yeah.
You can work your bahuki off.
Now, in this moment, for me, the game changer is that when you said, and when I realize we are constantly creating, and
Yeah,
when you said those why question will give you, you can
yeah.
start asking, but you will receive immediately those
Immediately,
thoughts.
immediately,
Okay,
and you ask
I
them
get,
from a place of hate. So all those things you've been asking from a place of hate. There's this thing in Scripture that says, "Ask and you shall receive." Well, and some people go, "Well, it's not working." I guarantee you it's working. It works every single time. You're just asking the way you're asking is other than what you really desire to have. If you say, I really, really want a new car, and you're not getting a new car, you know why? Because the word want means to desire without ever having. So you said, I really desire a new car, and I'm never going to have it. And so the universe goes, cool, keep wanting.
mm,
You're getting exactly what you're asking for every single time.
yeah, it's important. It's important what we are talking and
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, very important.
Okay, we are out of the time. So, Mark,
So,
thank you very much. Can you share where people can find you, learn about your programs, and follow what you're building?
yes, sir. It's encompasslife.com. You can email QLT at Encompass Life for additional information. That's our marketing department. I do have 3 books coming out this year. Also, I have one called The Quantum Leap Technique. I have one called Encompassing Life, and then I have another one. It's going to be on body language, and it's be coming out. I have yet to name that book, but it'll be coming out toward the end of the year. The Quantum Leap Technique should be out uh, February, sometimes in February,
Mhm.
and Encompassing Life should be out this summer, and then the other one will be out toward the end of the year. So um, the body language book is going to be a huge game changer in the healthcare industry or in natural medicine. I guess it would be more appropriate because it's going to list all the conversations and or all the list a lot of diseases and the conversations producing them.
Mark, thank you very much. I appreciate you so much. This was really powerful, and thank you for being my guest on Coach Approach.
You're welcome. And Marco, thank you so much for doing this. And I really acknowledge you stepping out and after your professional career, giving back to the community and doing this. This is really cool. Blessings for you in your life, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Elevate yourself, empower others. Welcome to Coach Approach Podcast.